Hi everybody and welcome to this month's Feng Shui class, Feng Shui Masterclass. And as always, I start with the explanation why I sometimes say Feng Shui and sometimes Feng Shui. Both is applicable. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. It's different accent. And the way I've been trained in Mandarin Chinese, and in Mandarin Chinese it is Feng Shui. Feng Shui. Feng Shui. The Cantonese is Feng Shui. My God, I'm getting now confused myself. This is funny. Okay, hey. Wonderful. So, today, because it's the time, the September, and spring is coming, and you can already kind of feel it. Today was a bit warmer than the last 2 days, weren't that? But we're making, the light is coming back, don't we? So what is happening at the moment from a Feng Shui perspective is that we are wandering from the water energy, our topic 2 months ago in the Feng Shui Masterclass, to the wood energy. So just to give you a little reminder, this is where we're coming from. So I hope you can all see that. We're coming from water elements. So this is the cycle of the 5 elements. For those who weren't here beginning of the year, where I did a whole session with that one. If you would like to have that session, flick me an email and I give you the link if you haven't got it. So this is the cycle of the 5 elements, and this is also how we go through the year. So the water element is the winter, the wood element is spring, the fire element is summer, earth element is late autumn, late summer, sorry, and autumn is metal, and then going into winter water. And from having said, and from the whole idea comes from really the flow of nature, as also the flow of life. So when we're born, and then we're growing up, and then to the height of our adolescence, then we're kind of settling in, starting to harvest, going back to water. So when we're looking at the Bagua, for instance, this is where we also can see that. Here we go. If we're looking simply at the Bagua, this is one that we have used the last few times. And this is the Northern Hemisphere Bagua. Okay, I'm just about in the process to creating my own Southern Hemisphere Bagua, and we will use that in the future. But at the moment, and not to confuse anyone, we're just using the Northern Hemisphere Bagua, which is totally fine to use. So don't get confused. It's just a little bit more authentic if we're using Southern Hemisphere Bagua in the Southern Hemisphere. So what you can see is also here, this is the water element, life's journey. And we've been talking about that 2 months ago. And now we're coming through the earth element. This is the earth axis. This is the correct usage of it, into the wood element. And then we're going into from large wood, small wood, into the fire element, into another earth element, metal element, small and large, and back to water. So what we can see here, just let alone from the Bagua and how we use it, that the wood energy is family and new beginnings. Family as in the family where you come from. So it's about strengthening family ties and nurturing loving relationships and friendships. This is why I titled it Spring Energy, Wood Energy. In the spring, you know, you set a seed in the winter or coming out of winter, and then suddenly the sprouts are coming out and the plants start to grow. So it's about new beginnings, and this is the energy that the spring has. The spring energy is about new beginnings. What you can see from the Bagua also already, that the new beginning has to have a foundation. So it has to have an openness and the flow from your life's journey. So you already drew a slight plan of how you want to journey through your life or through this year. This is why I encourage everyone at the beginning of the year, Southern Hemisphere, winter time, Matariki, to start looking out into the future, what you want to take into the future. And also to look back and see what do you want to leave behind in the past. And then you have to get into the self-cultivation and knowledge. What do I need for this path this year? What do I need for this path in my life, in this phase of my life right now? And this is how you come then into the new beginning. So it's not that you say, okay, I start tomorrow. You know how it always ends up when we say we start tomorrow. The question is really what basis do I need? Whoops. What basis do I need to actually come into this spring energy, into this wood energy? So my main purpose today is to give you an idea what the energy at the moment is like. And you maybe already feel it because the light is coming back. So we are far more active than we were the last few months. So the time of cocooning is now gone. We're slowly coming back into our life because we have more light. The day is longer. The days are warmer. So we are far more active. We are probably also more outside than we've been in the winter when we were in the water energy. Part of the water energy in the winter is also being emotional. So our emotions are far more are predominant in our lives, are far more important in the winter. Now we're slowly getting out of it. And this is the energy we really need to use. Let's say in winter when you felt the cocooning and when you felt the energy is draining you and you are a little bit down, maybe this is all part of the water energy. Now it's the time of renewal. Now is the time of getting out of it. So the spring energy, the wood energy is all about self-cultivating. It is about reading new books that you want, watching new documentations that you want, maybe taking up a new hobby, maybe taking up a new sport. This is the time to do it. This is the time to start these new habits. So if you think there is some, or you realized in the winter when we were thinking about your path and your life, you realized you want to change something. This is the time to bring it to fruition, because this is the time where the energy is with you. So it is much easier in springtime to start a new habit, to change something in your life, than it actually is in autumn, for instance. In autumn, you can also change things, but it's more about internalizing. So in autumn, you would change things in the metal energy by structuring more, by decluttering, by really getting clearer about more using your logic and your analytics. In spring energy is chaotic. And you maybe feel that already. It's left, right, and center. So I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to, like children. The wood energy is also children energy. It is chaotic. It's about informing. I want to know that. I want to know that. Children are like little sponges. They are really absolutely amazing in taking up new things if you let them. If you let them. So this is how you can figure out what's going on at the moment. Maybe you feel that you're a little bit left, right, and center because there's so many new things to do, so many new ideas. And maybe your mind or your analytic part of your brain coming up with, oh, that's not logical. Oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, no, we've never done it. Oh, we don't do that. This is exactly what this time is about. So what I like to do then is really, because I like to write things down, handwriting, writing down new ideas. And actually at the moment I have so many new ideas that I started another book, whatever. You will see what comes out of it. So it is about really cultivating these new ideas that you want to do and to do it now. But as you've seen from the Bagua, you need a foundation for that. So we need to self-cultivate. We need to go into the knowledge to find a foundation for that. So it's also the time of learning now. And you know, like a day like today or on the weekend when the sun was out, it was really beautiful to sit in the sun and just read a book or watch a documentation or a video about something you want to start. This is the time to do it. Give yourself the time to find out, oops, that lamp's gone, to find out what it is that you want to do right now. I think this one is just in its last, whatever. This is the time to find out what you want to change and what's new, and to really maybe go to the library and go through that topic, this field that what you want to change, what you want to know, and just give yourself the time to look after yourself and look into these things. So what is helpful in this process? This process of renewal, this pure process of being reborn, this process of change. Well, what actually is helpful is where you're coming from, which is the water, which is your emotions. Our emotions are pointers towards a direction. So, you know, last time I think, I don't know, was it in the masterclass, in the mindfulness masterclass, where I talked about fear? Our fear is also a pointer. So all the emotions that we're having are pointers towards what we like and what we don't like. Sometimes our mind can fool us. So it is really interesting, especially in the springtime, to look into what are you afraid of. This may sound like a strange concept in the beginning, but it makes total sense. Look into something that you are afraid of. I'm not talking spiders or anything. I mean, you could also use that. But like heights, or being afraid of, oh, I won't make it. Or you have this idea, or you want to write a book, or you want to start a new sport, and everybody around you and something inside of you tells you, no, you can't do that. And then you start becoming afraid of yourself, and where did this idea come from, and is this really me right now? So don't mix up fear with excitement. Maybe you're so excited about this new thing, this new idea, that you're overwhelmed. This is again where the emotions are coming in. But emotions are helpful because emotions can motivate you, can bring you forward. So use the excitement and the emotion as a motivator, actually. Within the change, it is really interesting how a motivator can bring you forward. So look into what you're afraid of and make this your ally. Make this your ally. For instance, if you're afraid of change itself, which is a very interesting construct and not rare out there in society, to be honest, then look into why you're afraid of change and what is so frightening about it. And you may find that maybe there is something from the past, maybe there's something someone has told you that you need to be afraid of change. Yes, for the last thousands of years, being afraid of change kind of saved us when we were in the tribe. Because when we were in the tribe and there was something that was different, that was not part of our tribe, it probably was dangerous. Or if it was a fruit that you didn't know. But those times are gone. Those times are gone. Something that is different maybe is something that really excites us and brings us new quality into our lives, for instance. So what is helpful for the wood energy, and you can see that from the cycle of, oh, I didn't open that, from the cycle of the energy. You can see here that what is helpful is the water energy. So the water energy can help you, and that is emotions, that is sometimes sitting still, and that is pondering about it. Just sitting in a chair, reading a book, or looking out, having a nice cup of tea, really just pondering about Is this really a good idea? Is this what I want to change? Is this where I want a new beginning and I want something different? Sitting down, and this is also the process from water to wood. This is the other earth energy that I showed you in the Bagua. This is the really looking into the quality of knowledge and self-cultivation down here. Quiet the mind through meditation and self-understanding. You don't have to meditate. I find it really helpful, but understanding yourself, going into an internal dialogue with yourself, but not arguing with yourself, but listening to yourself. You know, you have this idea maybe, oh, it's springtime, now I want to do this, I want to change that. Listen to yourself. And this is where you can use the meditation, or where you can use simply just sitting somewhere and staring. Or I like to go to the library or to a bookshop and just look through the books and just see what excites me. Is there something that I really like? Very often there's nothing. Or an op shop, for instance. Very often there's nothing, but sometimes there is a book where I think, oh, this is something. And then I take it. So this is also quietening the mind through really gaining a self-understanding of yourself. And that happens in the silence. That doesn't happen out in the world with yak around you. So what is helping you with new beginnings and with change and with this wonderful wood energy that we're having now, that the days are getting longer? It's really the openness and the flow and the courage to go onto this journey ahead, because there is a journey ahead. There is a future. There is something coming. So every day is getting us closer to the future, which of course will never come because there's only one time, which is now. But helping you is this knowledge and self-cultivation, quietening the mind. And then really go into, in springtime, strengthening your family ties, nurture loving friendships, because this is the ground, the soil where you actually build this plant, where this plant is thriving. This plant, which is you, can only thrive when there's enough of support through friends or family or whoever is around you. So use that energy, and then you will come into the abundance and gratitude, the other wood element, abundance and gratitude. This will grow into it. You know, look at it like a seedling coming out through the ground and then going into maybe a tree. The tree is growing, and then your abundance and gratitude is the fruit that your tree will have. But you need a foundation for that. So the process in spring and with the wood energy is always being prepared. You can't be prepared for everything, of course, but building that foundation, that knowledge, really seeking into yourself, what is it that I want? What can I change? What do I want to change? And you know, where there's a will, there's a way. This is the truth. And this is where we are getting our energy from. So if you want to go through that process, this is the best way to do it. And what you can also see in that process of the energy is that what is disturbing your energy. So the wood energy where you're growing is, of course, if you're going too quick into the fire, meaning if you want results too quickly without being prepared, without being pondering about it, without giving it the time that it actually needs, you may burn yourself. So if you're going too quick from the water over the wood into the fire and want the fame and the reputation, everyone, look at me, I did this, and you didn't give yourself the time to really have the foundation, you may burn yourself out. So it takes time. Patience is a virtue, not one of my personal bests, to be honest, but things do need time. So give them the time. Don't rush things. Seriously, sitting down sometimes and thinking twice about it really strengthens your will in the end. Don't rush it. You know, we're living in times now where everything needs to be quick. And when do you want the project to be finished? Yesterday, of course. And can you run a class tomorrow? No, it takes time. So allow yourself to have this time, because with time you will have a much better foundation. The growth will be just much better. I mean, it's like a fruit tree. Just imagine a fruit tree would carry all these fruit in the first or second year. It will break. So give yourself these 2-3 months until summer is there to let it grow, let it naturally, organically grow, whatever the idea is, whatever the change is. And another thing what you can see is, so this is the so-called nurturing cycle in our 5 energy model. And this is the destructive cycle. And what you can see is that metal is the enemy of wood. So metal can destroy wood. And metal is really your analytical mind. Metal is structure. And we need structure in our life, yes. There's a process when we need structure, but not necessarily when we are planning something new. So when you are planning a house, for instance, in the process, you have all these ideas. I want this, I want this, I want this. You have all these wishes, what you want. And then when you start planning it before you're building it, actually, then you need the structure as in, is this really carrying that roof? Is this really viable? Can we really do it in the place that we have? That is the structure that will come out before you build it, yes. But this is not the time that we have now. We have now the wood energy time, which is, I want this, I want that, I want, like children. I want this, I want that, I want that. Maybe make a list of all what you want to change, with all that you want to have. And then let this list sit for a few days. And after a few days, you will think, no, this, I don't really want that. I don't know where that came from. But you know, this one, I think I really want this one. Give it time. And don't structure it too much. Metal is your enemy in this case. Don't be too logic about it. I remember this one woman that I met, and she wanted to become this certain, it doesn't matter what it was, but she wanted to become, that was her profession that she wanted. And she said, but I can't, I don't have the money, and I can't do this. And I said, well, library, start. And I knew that there was an online academy that had a special on in that field where she wanted to be. So I gave her the address, and she got that course for a really ridiculous cheap price. And she started doing it. So she started working in this field, and it was her creativity that was so good that attracted people and clients. So don't question where does it come from, or how will I get there. Don't question that. If your will is strong enough and you're really determined and you've built the foundation through books, through courses, through videos, there's so much stuff available nowadays for free online and for just a few bucks. Use that. Use that. And build that foundation to come into that beautiful energy of creativity, and use the water energy and the emotions, and use that stillness that is possible underneath. And again, your enemy, or what can block you, is fire energy. If you want results too quickly, too much, you know, the seed needs to properly sprout. So give it time. But you have to start. There needs to be a starting point. So you need to start, and then once you've started, you can give it time until summer. And in summer is the time to really, okay, now we're bringing this into existence. This is fire energy. And then in autumn, you start harvesting. But give it time right now. This is not the energy for rushing. This is not the energy for wanting too much too quick. And also, this is not the energy, the metal energy. This is not the time for too much structure or being too analytical. It is the time to really collect ideas, wishes, foundations. And then through learning and through going deeper into the topic, you will then automatically become more and more structured and more analytical in a natural way. But let the creativity flow to start with. This is really the time now to let your creativity flow and to really let your mind wander. Use this airy energy that we're having at the moment. And also what helps, a big helper, by the way, that has nothing to do with Feng Shui, by the way, but move your body in whichever way. Walk or bike or do anything your mind comes to. Whenever your body moves, all of your fluids in your body come to life and start working, which means that your heart is more pumping, which means all that your fluids in your body are more working, which means your brain gets much more of what it needs. So move your body. It doesn't need to be quick. No, not at all. That's a misconception. If you like it, totally fine. Yes, you can move quick, but you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to. A nice walk on the beach is really something where you can let your mind wander and, you know, have this conversation with yourself and really finding out what you really want. If you have a dog, brilliant. Just walk the dog, and that's your best exercise. And that can be your meditation, actually. So when you move your body, when you stretch your body, when you do just little things, it doesn't have to be much. This is when your emotions come in motion. This is when your liquids come in motion. This is when your brain really gets more oxygen and therefore works more. And the other thing, what I always say, is sleep. Sleep and rest is the time when your ideas come organically and absolutely automatically into fruition, to life. So really make sure that you're getting good sleep. And this is an idea. Maybe I should do a Feng Shui Masterclass next time about, we did the bedroom already, but I can do it again as the sleep topic. Yes, I'm going to note that down. Let's see, maybe we're doing next month, something about good night's sleep and bedroom from a Feng Shui perspective. Yeah, we can do that because we already did that from the mindfulness perspective. So these are the most important things I can give to you about what the energy is like at the moment. And I hope you enjoyed that. So have a beautiful time. The next Feng Shui Masterclass is October 22nd. And yeah, let's see what topic comes up. I hope you have a wonderful month. And if you're live here right now, just stay for the Q&A. If you're watching the recording, have a wonderful month and see you again next month. Bye.